Fact is, this Carolina Panthers team still faces plenty of questions as well as an uphill climb. They dominated today, but what about next week? I'm looking at you, Bryce. Hopefully we're not ruining the magic, but that big spacious garage it looks like the crew is broadcasting from is actually a big spacious green screen, much like this one. Now up close, it's not much to look at, but on TV, they can do just about anything. The question here is, should the Hornets trade LaMelo Ball? They're going to say no. Joey, he's going to say yes. I'm going to be the judge. That's why I have the hammer here. They just had the dryers on the track. I'm not hearing any noise. I'm hearing music. So that's a good sign, as there are still a lot of fans here. You're a guy that has done everything in this sport. Why does a third place finish bring tears to your eyes?
I never dreamed of being a car owner.
The business he's talking about is esports, a business where, yes, actual physical trades exist. Give me a second. St. John is currently a star player for the Hornets Venom GT, operating under the gamer tag Big Saint. There was a time when chaos was the norm for defenses all across the NFL.
Everybody all 11 looking the sideline and getting the calls.
Communication breakdowns were the norm, and offenses ran wild.
Pass wide open.
That is, until the league decided to level the playing field.
When we got the green dot in 2008, it just made so many of those things simpler.
The green dot that Panthers defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero is talking about is the logo found on the helmet of one of his players. Typically, it's the middle linebacker that wears it.
They're in the middle of the defense.
And that's why they've got the radio in their helmet, allowing crucial information to be streamlined from the sideline.
Starts off with the calls, obviously, and I mean that could be the front, the coverage, any alerts, checks we have, and then he might say like, hey, tell so-and-so this and tell so-and-so that. He's usually pretty good about not having too many things.
Inside the headset,
the player hears this. The sound is pretty clear, but when you have tens of thousands of screaming fans, it can get a little challenging.
Sometimes it is hard to hear, so you see the guys cover up their ears or whatever to hear it.
Communication is a one-way street, meaning coaches can talk to the player, but not the other way around.
I don't want to hear what they have to say.
That's because there's quite a bit of hurry-up involved. Instructions start once the play clock begins. Once it reaches 15 seconds,
it just goes up beep, 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 and then it's off.
From there, it's the responsibility of the person with the green dot to pass along the information to the other players on the field.
If you don't get the call to the guys, the offense ain't waiting for you to get the call.
As you can imagine, it can get pretty stressful.
Quick pass to get that and then some.
Then again,
for a couple of years there when the offense had and the defense didn't, there was a big, in my opinion, competitive advantage for them.
It is better than the alternative.
Mike Lacett, Lock and Luke kickoff live.
Thank you so much. And yeah, you guys saw it. Crazy stuff. Al, after watching that, what is your first reaction?
Defense wins championships. This Carolina Panthers defense.
Nearly 2 touchdown underdogs. The Panthers go on the road, take down the NFC North division leading Packers. We'll show you how it all went down. It was a weird start at Lambeau Field. Both teams are having trouble holding on to the football in this one. First quarter, Green Bay moving it downfield. Savion Williams runs into his own teammate before everyone runs into him. Somewhere in that mess, the ball came out. It is a fumble. Carolina got it back. Bryce Young, meanwhile, back as starting quarterback. First drive came up short. Second drive ended in the end zone. However, it's an interception. Xavier McKinney on the takeaway, so no score after one. Second quarter, Packers looking to get on the board. Someone forgot to put a body on Kirk Wharton. Down goes Jordan Love. Green Bay would have to settle for a field goal. Later on in the quarter, injuries starting to pile up. We saw Chandler Zavala get hurt. We also saw XL go out. Gets the first down. He was hit hard making the catch. He would be all right. Rico Dowdle was also banged up. He played through the pain, and he would deliver. Later in the drive, it's a 5-yard touchdown. Rico took the majority of Carolina's touches at running back. That made it 7-3. Panthers led 7-6 at the break. Third quarter, it was still 7-6. Carolina defense making Love pay. He went long. Trevon Merrick was there. He takes it back 26 yards. That got the Panthers in great field position. Question is, could they capitalize? Initially, it didn't look like they could. Young to the end zone. Another pickoff, but wait. Penalty against Green Bay. It's pass interference. So Carolina gets a fresh set of downs. They only need one play to get it in. Dowdle in for his second score. Now afterwards, he was called for excessive celebration. How did they get it right?
Yeah, they got it right. Can't do that. You only get a minimum of 2 of those. So
it would result in a missed PAT. So what should have been an 8-point lead is 7 for the Panthers. The fourth now. Carolina trying to hold on to the lead. However, the Packers kept coming. They'd eventually muscle their way in. Josh Jacobs with a touchdown. Extra point good, so 13s all around. Under 2 to play. Panthers trying to get within field goal range. They give it to Rico. That's a 19-yard gain. That gets Carolina down to the 31. Rico 130 yards rushing. So it all came down to this. Ryan Fitzgerald, the rookie, kicking it into the wind. The 49-yarder is good. Panthers, big underdogs, do it on the road. They take this one 16-13.
That's just great football, and so I'm really proud of him for, just playing with the kind of effort that we were expecting from him.
Man, it sounds like Panthers rookie Nick Scorton made a real good impression in his first ever preseason game. In the loss to the Browns, he finished with 2 tackles. However, it was the play in which he didn't get the hit that had everyone talking. We're going to pull it up right here. It was in the second quarter with the Browns driving. Their rookie quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, tried to make his move. There you see number 11, Scorton, cuts him off. Sanders going to come back the other way. He thinks he's seen the last of Scorton. Football field, 160 feet wide. In 6 seconds, Scorton turned on a dime, came back the other way, and was able to force him out. And that leads to the question of who's to blame for the situation. Last year, we thought it was the training staff. If you recall, they couldn't keep guys like LaMelo Ball healthy. Well, as it turns out, we might have been too quick to judge. The Hornets clean house brought in a new set of trainers, and lo and behold, Melo still isn't playing. So now what? Is the team finally ready to embrace the fact that Ball was a bust? Not a chance. Remember last summer when Jeff Peterson says this was not going to be a quick fix? He was not lying. He knew last year's draft class was a bust, hence why they rolled the dice and went with Tijon Salam. This year's draft class is a different story. You like watching Cooper Flagg play? I'm willing to bet you'd like watching him more at the Spectrum Center. And so would Charles Lee, Jeff Peterson, and for that matter, anyone who has a say within the franchise. That's why, dare I say, the Hornets aren't sweating their struggles. I'm not saying they want to lose, but I'm not saying they don't. They're taking a chance, and who knows, come this draft in June, it might actually pay off.
For the ball game this evening.
By 1995, the NBA had a bit of a pinstripe obsession.
It was something that not only transcended from the sport, but also a lifestyle.
Taking a page from the Yankees, Michael Jordan and the Bulls got them.
It's a nice-looking jersey, Johnny.
The Magic did too.
It reminds me of that old school classic.
And fresh off back-to-back championships, so did the Houston Rockets.
And you see the new uniforms.
Meanwhile, watching from afar, the person who started it all could only shake his head.
They say that emulation is the sincerest form of flattery, but sometimes it's aggravating.
In basketball, Alexander Julian never set out to be a trendsetter. By the mid-1980s, the Chapel Hill native was an accomplished fashion designer, building an empire based on the principles set forth by his mom and dad, dubbed by the New York Times as the grandparents of preppy. But Julian also liked a challenge.
That was my first question to George was, what's the name of the team?
At the time, George Shinn didn't have a lot of answers. But what he did know is that he wanted Julian to design the uniforms of the team he owned, the one that would come to be known as the Hornets.
I said, George, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make you a deal. I'm going to trade you ownership of the Hornets uniforms for 5 pounds of Carolina barbecue a month, FedEx to me in Connecticut. I remember hanging up the phone after we agreed and going, well, this is going to be interesting.
That's because Julian was already thinking of an idea that would shake the NBA fashion world to its core.
What essentially a basketball jersey is a knit shirt. And the knit shirts that I was famous for were vertical striped knits.
So ultimately, it was pulled pork for pinstripes. But there was more.
The shorts were the first pleated basketball shorts in history.
And did we mention the color?
Everything in Charlotte became teal. There's still a lot of teal there now.
Good evening, everybody.
On the court, there was a lot to be desired.
Left hands it up and in.
But as far as uniforms go, Charlotte had a winner.
It gave you everything you could ask for.
Pretty good scene.
Yet as it turned out, someone wanted something else.
Having Dean Smith on the phone asking me for new Tar Heels uniforms it was like having God on the phone asking for new halos for the Archangels.
Impressed by Julian's work, North Carolina's legendary coach wanted to update his team's look.
If I screwed it up, I couldn't go home.
This time around, Julian decided to go a different route.
I think the Argyle is more different than anything else visually in college sports. Nobody has anything like it. It's an instant get visually when you see it, and it's timeless.
And just like Julian's pinstripes,
It was a great design.
it's now a part of Carolina sports history.
I felt a little bit like Dr. Frankenstein.
He created a monster, all right, not to mention one incredible legacy.